What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Combat Corporation, your source of combat sports. I'm your host, Al the Postmaster Morrow, and today I have a gear review on the Sanabul Funk Strike MMA sparring gloves. Alright folks, as always, I'm incredibly excited to bring you yet another gear review, as today I have an extension of our Sanabul mini marathon that I've been posting. Long story short, I've been posting a lot of Sanabul videos because back in September, I unboxed the entire Sanabul MMA sparring glove lineup, including these that I have in front of you. And I wanted to kind of just do a mini marathon of Sanabul products because they're one of the most requested products on my channel today. And I finally got around to reviewing the MMA sparring gloves. These are the funkiest pair of MMA sparring gloves I own, no pun intended. The MMA sparring glove counterpart to the boxing gloves that I reviewed. These are the Sanabul Funk Strikes. And I'm really excited to do this review because it's one of the rare occasions where there's a set of something where I like something drastically more than the other. In the case of the boxing gloves, I really didn't like them. And the MMA sparring gloves, I really enjoy using these. So with that said, I'm excited to do this review. So when it comes to the Funk Strike, basically they are one of the coolest gloves out there as far as like design and concept goes. And that is because these are made out of cloth. There's no engineered leather. There's no leather at all. It is all cloth, as you can hear there, and you can kind of hear when I rub it like that. So it is an all cloth MMA sparring glove. And that's the cool part about Sanabul, is that they don't use any type of animal products at all. So you won't see like actual leather or hide or skins of any kind. It's all different ways to do it. And the other thing that Sanabul said about gloves like these is that they usually try not to do big flashy designs. Even some of their cooler designs are still relatively basic in some ways or have a futuristic look to it, but these are entirely like, you know, tie-dye, and that's the really cool part about these. And the one thing that I noticed about a lot of the gloves, they might be virtually the same, but basically tie-dye can't ever really be replicated the same. And funny enough, when I actually compared these to my teammate Justin's gloves, they do look a bit different because we have the same colorway. So I think that's really cool that they do that. My teammate Justin actually uses these every day, and he absolutely loves them. I had another teammate, Brendan, that used a pair as well, and he also had the boxing gloves, and he would literally throw them into the washing machine because he figured because they were cloth they can do that. Now I want to say this right ahead of time because this is the most commonly asked question I get from everyone at the gym or people that have asked me about these gloves. I did not read it on the website or anywhere else that you could throw these in the washing machine, but I have seen people in the Amazon reviews say that they use them in the washing machine and they came out fine. Plus my teammate Brendan has thrown these in all the time and he said that they work just fine. So, I mean, if you want to try it, it's your equipment. I don't know if I'd recommend it. I clean these the same way I would anything else. But with that said, let's go ahead and get into the review itself, starting with the exact model that I have. I got these in the regular Sanabul Funk Strike colorway, the regular tie-dye, but you got them in 4 different colors. They have like a black and white tie-dye. They have a like dark ocean blue tie-dye. They also have a purple tie-dye, and they have the regular tie-dye colors that you got going on here. You can get them, I think they're in 4 different sizes. I want to say it's small, medium, large, extra large, or it might be the 2 sizes, small/medium. Yes, it is a small/medium, and then L/XL, because that's what we have here, right? Yep, there's a tag right there. It says L/XL. Yep, it's the gold stripes, I'm thinking, come in the different sizes, the 4 different sizes. These come in 2, small/medium, large/extra large, and obviously, because they are MMA gloves, they only come in hook and loop Velcro closure. So you have 4 different colors to pick from, 2 different sizes, and usually the way that the small/medium goes, I'd say for people that have like smaller hands, they go for those. If you have bigger hands, go for these, is the way I always say it. And I'm obviously a heavyweight, I got bigger hands, so I need the L/XL size, and they fit my hand just fine. And we go into the look of the glove. Like I said, you have that super cool tie-dye coloration going on here. It's more of your pinkish and like your tealish, bluish, green colors going throughout here. You got some yellow and red coming throughout there as well, with the Sanabul logo right in the center. And it kind of looks like it's getting washed away by like a tidal wave for me in some ways. So I really like how that looks. Now when we come down to this part, you got more of that reddish coloration, which is nice. The piping on it is all white, which complements the colors very well. Yet the palm is all black, which once again complements the white and the other colors very well. And then when we come here, you got more of that pink and tealish color. Come to the thumb, you got more of that tealish color with some red and like orangish yellow going down here. The wrist strap says Sanabul right there, as you can see. And you got more of that red going on here, like red, orange, and yellow. More of that teal. And when we unwrap it, the Velcro is black in small strips, and the interior strap is all black. And so that's pretty cool. And then, like I said, you got the L/XL. It says made in Pakistan right down there. So that's where it was made. L/XL. And then if we do that, it says made in, oh, sorry, my fingers are like too big for it. Made in Pakistan, if you can read that. And it says number 10 for some reason. But that's basically what you got going on there. And then the stitching of the glove is all white, primarily double line stitching in certain spots, like back here that you can see. It's more of a double line stitch. Now we come to the build of the glove. Like I said, the outside shell is not made out of a leather. They are actually made out of complete cloth. It's just a poly cotton is the way it feels. And I like the way that feels. On both gloves. It's very smooth, but the only thing about that is that it really soaks moisture in pretty good because it is cloth. It's kind of like wearing a dry fit t-shirt in a lot of ways is how it feels to me. And imagine wearing the same dry fit t-shirt for like 3 days in a row. That's the way I talk about the outer shell. So it does take a lot of moisture in. And in this case, compared to the boxing glove that was really rough and rugged on the inside, this glove on the outside feels exactly the same on the inside as well. It feels exactly like the outer shell is basically what a lot of gloves interior lining would feel like, which is really cool. The padding is your basic, you know, it's your IMF Tech foam that you would get. I think they call it their Durasoft foam when it comes to Sanabul, and it's basically like a bunch of other MMA sparring gloves that they have on the market. It's a type of IMF Tech foam or ringside foam, and basically the idea behind that is one solid piece. They inject it with some type of gel, basically stops and mitigates impact, which is always good for your knuckles. So they actually have really good knuckles, and they have that nice small frame for the glove with a nice door hinge style knuckle. And now people always ask me why I always emphasize the door hinge style knuckle. Well, when an MMA sparring glove or MMA glove in general is one solid piece, your whole hand has to move independently. But when I squeeze down here, everything else gets tight, and I might not want that. Whereas this, the door hinge, is when I go to make a natural fist, the glove moves with me naturally. And you can see how that curves over the knuckles very easily as well. So it's very flexible, and it flops like that, and that's the idea. So when you open and close it, you got really strong grips, yet you can open and close for strikes very easily. You can catch, you can grab, all those things, and that's why the door hinge style, I think, is the best way to have an MMA sparring glove or MMA glove in general. You also have a nice wrist strap, a wrist bar down here too, that stabilizes your wrist and wraps around your wrist, because it's a nice solid piece of EVA foam, kind of like a yoga or wrestling mat is what EVA foam is, and it wraps around your wrist like that, stabilizing the back of it. So a lot of people may not know, your bones break upward, not outward. So it basically stops your bones from popping up, keeps the right compression in the right areas. The thumb actually has 3 different grids down here, which is pretty cool. Unlike some other gloves that only have the 1, this has 3. And I want to say the Essential MMA sparring glove has 3 as well, yes. So it feels like that in a lot of ways as well. I reviewed those recently too. But you got 3 EVA pieces on your thumb to give you the extra thumb padding, and then you have a pretty good loop on the thumb. And the finger slits are all individualized yet grouped at the same time. You can see that we have different separations going on here on the in-betweens of each of the glove that allows your fingers to be mobile by themselves, but yet also work uniform with that bar there, which I really like. Now, when we talk about the wrist strap, it is a long wrist strap, which offers really good wrist support, and it doesn't become so bulky at all when you put it on your actual wrist, which is nice, and I'll show that in a second. The piping is pretty good, but I will say the stitching on the glove has come off a little bit. As you can see here, the piping flaked right off, and this actually happened like after my first use. So it's been like this really forever since I got it about 6-7 months ago now. And that's basically what you got going on there. And that happens with a couple other parts of the piping, like on this glove. Up here, you can see that it's kind of flaked off a little bit, you know, but it's not so noticeable to a point where the glove's like going to implode on itself or anything like that. You have small little Velcro patches that latch on throughout the glove that keeps it nice and secure, and the Velcro is actually pretty strong. And the interior lining, very similar to the outer shell, like I said, is just a nice poly cotton as well. Now, unlike the boxing glove, which was rough and rugged on the back of my hand, when I put my hand on the inside of this glove, it slips on so easily, and it feels really good on the back of my hand, and overall, it's very comfortable. And like I said, for a long wrist strap, it does not make the glove that bulky at all. The wrist strap is still very, very thin. That way I'm able to get, you know, my underhooks under the neck easily, things along those lines, which is always good. And I can make such a natural fist with these gloves, unlike the boxing gloves that really were so stiff and uncomfortable, whereas this is nice and open. And I really like that. And like I said, you have individuality with your fingers able to move a little bit. The only thing that I don't like is that these knuckles, your door knocking knuckles, do kind of come out and protrude a little bit. And sometimes I have had this happen with sparring partners or in sparring sessions when you're going maybe to get a collar tie or something. They use that. I've been scraped or caught like that before. Some people might punch like that, you know, on accident. It's not on purpose, obviously, but it does happen. So I wish that maybe it looped over a little bit more, but virtually all the MMA sparring gloves by Sanabul, and honestly, most of the MMA sparring gloves on the market do exactly that. It's not the biggest deal, but it's enough to make you, you know, notice it. But at the end of the day, I like the flexibility that you have with this. The open and close of these gloves feels good. It's definitely not a loud glove, so if you smash the bag and you prefer to hear a big loud pop, not the glove for you, but overall, really nice. Like I said, the only thing I don't like is just they take on a lot of moisture right after your session. They soak up so much of your sweat, and it is hard to clean that way. Like I said, I did not read anywhere that could really say for sure that you can throw these in the washing machine. I clean them the same way. I spray them down with disinfecting spray. But overall, the wrist support feels really nice because of that nice long wrist strap. The actual bar in the back hugs around the back of your hand very well, protects your metacarpals and tarsals. And then overall, you still have tons of room. The rule in MMA gloves is 2 fingers. And then close your fist, and there's still tons of room for you to wrap your hands up in these things. So overall, for me, they feel really, really comfortable, and I've really enjoyed using them so far. So with that said, let's go into the bag work and come back with my final thoughts. Hitting the bag with the MMA Funk Strike Sparring Gloves by Sanabul is actually really nice. They feel very similar to the Core / Essential Series gloves that you'd get by Sanabul as well. They protect your knuckles very well. They protect the wrist very well. They're nice and light on top of it. They actually feel a little bit lighter than some other gloves that you're going to use, I think because of that cloth material. Overall, I like how protective they are. I like how good grips you can get, and I like how they just feel when you hit the bag. When it comes to the Funk Strikes look, obviously they have the really cool design, but they also have really good functionality as far as grips go. You can actually get really good S grips. Basket grips are weird, but you got your butterfly wrist grips. Underneath the neck works really good. Getting underhooks, overhooks is great. So if you like Darce chokes and stuff, that works great. And on top of it, just like the boxing gloves, they have a really nice funky design to it. I think a lot of people will be able to appreciate it. The only thing is when these gloves come at you, you're going to kind of smell a couple things unless your guy is washing them every single day, because they do retain smell very, very easily. But overall, they look really cool, and you got to appreciate a good design. All right, folks, so my final verdict for the Sanabul Funk Strike MMA Sparring Gloves. If you've been paying attention to the review, you might have actually heard this entire review before. It kind of seems like I'm doing a re-review of the Sanabul Essential MMA Sparring Gloves. And virtually, folks, it is the same exact glove, only it has a different outer shell. It really does. That's just about it. And there are some drawbacks to having the different outer shell as far as this glove goes. This is, for me, a much easier glove to clean and maintain. And for the beginner to intermediate market, especially when you have beginners that just kind of take their stuff out, or they leave their stuff in their bag when they get home instead of taking it out and airing it out. That's the one drawback to these gloves for me, is that the cloth outer shell just kind of makes the glove smell after a while, especially if you have a teammate that doesn't clean their stuff. That's really the biggest drawback to this, but otherwise, it's the same glove as a Sanabul Essential. But obviously, if you haven't read that review, watched that review, then I'll just break it down for you. The padding, as far as the Durasoft padding goes, that IMF Tech type gel padding that you're going to get in anything that Sanabul makes, feels really good, and it's nice and protective for an MMA sparring glove. I know Sanabul says that on their website they prefer that you get a different glove to hit bags with, because they say that the fingers might get irritated, or some people don't like punching the bags when it comes to the MMA sparring gloves, or separate your sparring gloves from your bag gloves. These are a great training glove in general. I've hit rounds and rounds of bag work and pad work with these gloves. I've sparred with these gloves. I've drilled with these gloves. They are a really solid pair of gloves that are quite durable, just like their essential counterpart. The only difference is that you're paying an extra $5 for the design, and the outer shell being quite a bit different compared to that. The wrist support on the back is really surprising compared to some other MMA sparring gloves out there, in that it has a really nice bend and flexibility to it. So when you strap it tight, it really cradles the back of your hand and wrist, keeping everything in a nice solid spot. The glove is very flexible, and it's very grappling friendly, which is always good when it comes to MMA sparring gloves, because you don't want an MMA sparring glove that's going to be too fat, big, and bulky that you can't really strike and grapple with, because usually you get the big giant puffy gloves that are just so bulky you can barely open your hand and close your hand around someone to grapple with. Very hard to get into the tight spots with underhooks, overhooks, or to reach for different things to get certain grips. You can actually get S grips or 8-finger grips, whatever it is you want to call this. Some people call it a lock grip, but basically you can get S grips in these gloves very easily compared to other gloves out there. And your palm to palm gable grips are very good. Your butterfly or bar grips, whatever it is you like to call them, are very easy. And even like getting like choke grips, like for your rear naked choke, going behind the neck, and then obviously slipping this in to push behind the head and everything, your X grips, if you want to call it that, are very, very comfortable in these gloves. So if you are a grappling heavy person, these gloves are very good for you. And I also refer to my teammate Justin that uses these every day. He's much more of like a slick, funky grappler, and these gloves fit him great. Because he's able to get all those grips, and his grips feel strong, they feel tight, they feel on the mark when he uses these gloves. And I think it's because the way that they were designed, just like the Essentials. The only thing I will say is that these gloves are actually a bit smoother because of that outer shell being made out of that cloth. They don't really get stuck on stuff so much, so they actually like slide through things like you're slipping on wet grass in a lot of ways. But like I said, that's just my major drawback of this glove, is that I just don't like the outer shell idea of that, unless you were to be able to like throw it into the washing machine. There are machine washable gloves out there. I know Asami makes a couple, like the MMA gloves that they have. They also have the bag gloves that they have. But at the end of the day, I've really enjoyed using these. I think really the only drawback is the piping on these gloves are a little bit weaker compared to the Essentials. And you can actually see that there's like foam on the inside of that piping there, right there. It's that black little piece. But overall, it's still very durable. I think these gloves will last you just about as long as the Essentials, so long as you clean and take care of them. The only thing is, since they soak up so much moisture, they're going to get into the padding a lot easier. Once this padding starts to bubble, the whole glove will start to fall apart. And also, I will say, although my teammate Justin takes very good care of his equipment, it still smells after a while. And even after washing mine, these do obtain quite a bit of odor after a while. And like I said, that's kind of the drawback to this glove. Even if you clean them as meticulously as I do, I even have a dehumidifier in the room that sucks the moisture out of the air, and therefore these. And that's basically the whole idea behind like maintaining your gloves. You don't want to keep them wet. These are very hard to dry. Not a glove for someone that's going to come home and just leave them in their bag. Don't ever do that. Take your stuff out, clean it after every use, right? But with that said, guys, if I were to give these a rating out of 10, I'm only going to really knock them for that 1 point, and that is going to be a 9 out of 10. I'm going to put them in an A tier. I think they are a great pair of gloves. The only thing about it is just they obtain that sweat and moisture so poorly. And I guess there are some other gloves out there that you can spar in more, but for the beginner to intermediate market, these gloves are awesome. I would still prefer the Essentials over these simply because they are easier to clean, and I think they are slightly more durable if you clean them and maintain them more than these. But at the end of the day, they are a cool and alternative. They're only $5 more, so I can't knock them more for that. They're pretty durable. I think the only thing is that the piping fell out, but I've had that happen with so many other gloves on the market. I cannot really complain about it so much. But at the end of the day, these gloves were really fun to work with, and I've really enjoyed using them because they're virtually the Essential, only with a cloth background to it. I don't put them in the S tier because you see definitely more people using the Essential, and I enjoyed using the Essential a lot more. Those to me are excellent gloves. I recommend to literally anyone. These I'd be like, I mean, if you're good with maintenance of your gloves and you don't want smelly glove, if you're okay with having a smelly glove here or there, definitely go with this. But at the end of the day, I had a lot of fun using these compared to their boxing glove counterparts, which I thought were pretty bad for me, honestly. But in this case, I had fun using these, and I think you will too because it makes you stay funky. There you go. I said it. With that said, guys, thank you so much for watching this review. As always, if you have any questions, please put it in the comment section below. I love seeing your feedback. If I missed anything about these gloves or messed anything up, as always, please comment below or message me on any of my social media platforms. We're already at 8.7 thousand subscribers, which is absolutely crazy to me, thinking I started this thing as a fun project my senior year of college and seeing how far it's come along now. And I so appreciate all of your support. So as always, please hit that like and subscribe button. Crush that notification bell. They are small clicks for you or pokes of your finger on your phone for you, but it goes a long way to help the channel. So for that, thank you so much for watching The Combat Corporation, your source for combat sports. I've been your host, Al the Postmaster Morrow, and I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great day, everybody.